Damaged an Orono house this evening. 3 departments responded to the scene at 344 Main Street, and everyone was safe and out of the house. Firefighters quickly extinguished flames coming from the basement, and officials say that damage is likely to be repairable. With the house being located near the intersection of Kelly Road, it caused traffic delays for some in the area.
The biggest thing is make sure your smoke detectors are working. Luckily, these folks did their job, and they made sure that their batteries were good in their smoke detectors, and every single one of them that we heard in the building were going off. So they definitely do the right thing by making sure that they have smoke detectors working. I just encourage the public to make sure that their smoke detectors are working, because that's how they were actually notified of the fire.
The cause of the fire remains under investigation.